fans, Wildcats Radio 1290 is proud to bring you all of the football insights from our Arizona Insiders. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Modelo, brewed for full-time Cats fans. Modelo, an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Breaking down Arizona Wildcats football as we do every Tuesday with Glenn Howe, U of A football class of 1985. Arizona wins 41-13 over Oklahoma State. Big ball game coming up this Saturday against BYU. Glenn and I like to go back and watch the tape after to see what new things kind of transpire out of it. And Glenn, obviously one of the things that you talked about after the game was that the Wildcats needed to run the football on this one, and they actually, on that first drive, were running it pretty well before Oklahoma State started stacking the box. There was that first big run that Marty had in the game, man. I went back and I watched that one, and I loved it because everybody had a hat on somebody. All five guys on that offensive line had their guy blocked up, and Ishmael Mahdi was just able to find the easy opening to shoot for 21 yards. So at least in that respect, on the first drive, things started pretty well in the run game.
Yeah, the first drive was, I liked the way they were just really attacking the run. And then, after that, they just absolutely, they just put everybody. I think Boone Pickens was in the box, man. I think he was in the box, man. I thought they brought him out to put him in the box because then they just said that we got to stop the run. They're going to make Noah try to beat them, and that's what they tried to do, and then Noah did.
Well, and I think that's what I think I would try to do as well. I've said all along, I think if you want to try to slow this offense down, I think the best way to do that is to take away the run game and force the Wildcats to pass on you. And what stood out to me when I went back and I watched a lot of the video was just, I thought and I asked Bobby Wade, and we'll hear from him tomorrow on this. I just thought the routes, Glenn, were really well run. I mean, and I don't know if they grade that, like how they run their routes, but just going back, just seemed like the route running was as good as I've seen it. And not necessarily this season, but going back to last season, it was as good as I'd seen it. Yeah,
absolutely. They're graded on their route. That's what they're graded on. I mean, they have to be able to run the right depth, run the right timing, how they are moving when they don't get to when they get to their route. If they have to shift, if the quarterback is scrambling a little bit, those are different things because those are precise routes they have to do at levels, perfect levels. And I thought, watching the film again, I watched it again today, that the routes were ran really well. I think the guys, if Noah would have just put the ball a little bit better in a position where some of these guys could have really made some really good moves and know how to turn their body. I think we're still working on that, and hopefully they can clean that up this week.
Glenn Howe is our guest. It's Wildcat Breakdown. He's our Arizona Insider on this Tuesday. It's brought to you by Modelo. Modelo is brewed for full-time Cats fans. Modelo is a full-time corporate sponsor for your Arizona Wildcats. Some breaking news today, Glenn. The team has parted ways, mutual parting of the ways with tight end Kean Burnett, legacy player, obviously, son of Chester Burnett, great member of the Desert Swarm from the 1990s. And we talked about this at the top of the show, and it's disappointing that, unfortunately for Kean, he just never was able to find his footing. He caught that big touchdown pass at the end of the Utah game last year to get you that big win on the road, but a lot of injuries along the way. They kind of shut him down, having to play behind an NFL guy in Tanner McLaughlin the first 2 years he was here, and just never able to really find his own niche here at Arizona.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he had to go, but I had a feeling that he was going to be gone pretty soon. I just didn't get the feeling that he was happy. He just wasn't getting. He just was injured all the time, just, he just got to get his body together and make sure that he's, just getting better. I hope the best for him, too bad he couldn't work out here, but, it's going to be tough for him to get back and go somewhere else too. So hopefully he can get on with some other team, and best of luck to him.
Is he a guy, and I said this earlier, is he a guy, I think that even, he needs to go somewhere where he can showcase himself. But even if he doesn't necessarily get to a place next year, he's going to redshirt this year, where he can showcase himself. He's got the body type that some team might bring him in for a look, see if they can get him in camp. And see what they can do with him. Do you think he's the kind of kid, just based off of his body structure, that could get a look, even maybe say if he doesn't go and put up huge numbers next year?
I think so, but he needs to learn how to block better. I just think his blocking has to be a little bit better. If he goes to a team next year that doesn't need their tight end to block, I think he'll do great. I think he'll do great. He can run some routes. You got to remember, that's all he did in high school. He didn't really do a lot of blocking in high school. So he was that's a big adjustment, man, when you go down there and you got to get ugly, and it's a little bit different than trying to avoid a guy putting his hands on you instead of getting your head smashed in when you're going to get some D tackle or something, or even an outside linebacker. So it's a little bit different. He's got to find a spot where they don't ask much for their tight ends to block. If he's trying to get into another school, he has to find a place that has a scheme where their tight ends are not asked to block a lot.
Glenn Howe's our guest, Wildcat Breakdown. He's your Arizona Insider, brought to you by Modelo. Modelo is brewed for full-time Cats fans. Modelo, an official corporate partner of Arizona Athletics. One of your concerns coming out of the game, Glenn, was the blocking, the pass blocking, the 6 sacks that the quarterbacks took. And going back and look at it again, though, 2 of those sacks came at near the end of the game with Braden Locke, and they were probably more coverage sacks than anything else. He probably could have avoided those 2 sacks if he had just gotten rid of the football or threw it away. What were your overall takeaways on the offensive line and what they gave the Wildcats in that game?
Yeah, I thought the offensive line a couple of times when Noah was just getting pressured a little bit, I thought he could have got rid of the ball a little bit faster, and because they had some pretty good pass protection, and the tackles are still doing a little bit of a deep set where they're getting too far back instead of taking the guys on and then off the second kick and taking the guy on instead of going straight back, because that kind of hinders Noah's passing lanes a little bit to the perimeters of him, not necessarily to in front of him, but to the perimeters. So they got to still work on that, so he can't have that outside of that pocket pressuring him. So I think that they're going to work on that. If they can do that, I think we're going to be okay. I thought the run blocking was pretty good. I hope Chuba's all right. He's going to be okay.
Chuba, yeah.
I hope he's going to be okay. And our other guy,
Ty Buchanan.
I hope he's okay too. Did they mention anything about that in the press conference today?
No, we won't know until the first availability report comes out tomorrow night.
Yeah, and the other guys that came in, they did a decent job. I thought Rhino played a little bit better. I think he's starting to get, he's playing a little bit better, but he still's got to get better and working on finishing blocks and also his pass protection, staying in front and everything, and always making sure that making sure he knows who he has to block. Because it seemed on a couple plays he wasn't sure. So I hope that gets cleaned up. And, otherwise, I think the offensive line did not bad this game.
It is Wildcat Breakdown. Glenn Howe, Arizona Insider, on this Tuesday after a 41-13 win for the Wildcats over the Oklahoma State Cowboys. We'll get a break in here. We'll come back. We'll talk defense, special teams, and hand out some game balls for the fourth time this season. It is Wildcat Breakdown. DK on the sports tip. Dragon Ball is getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.